letting go is hard.
Yep.
It comes along with senses of shame and failure, mourning, grief. Like, it's just attached to it. It's also difficult, emotionally and spiritually, relationally. We attach our identity to what we've built. What's up, family? Welcome to another episode of the Futures Here podcast, where we teach the principles, the leadership principle that you need to reach the next generation. Of course, I'm here with Robert.
Let's go.
Yeah, he's excited about this one. Here we go. We are talking about, this episode is all about letting go, knowing when to pivot. Yeah. So, we're actually we're in that space right now.
We are.
Yeah. So, in a sense, there's a little bit of a crisis here. We would always say never waste a good crisis. And so how do you know when to actually make that pivot? We see a lot of leaders that don't.
Yeah.
So there's two extremes. One, leaders that don't, because you don't know what to do. So you just try to maintain status quo and you just kind of stay stuck and do the same things you've always done. And then there's other leaders that don't have a strategy or plan, so they pivot constantly. And that feels like whiplash for the staff,
That's exactly whiplash leaders. That's what I call them.
Yeah, whiplash leaders, where it's every time they go to a conference, they come back and they have a new plan and strategy. So today, it's the topic of the conversation is about letting go.
Yeah, about knowing when to actually pivot, when to let something go that's maybe outlived its usefulness. Maybe it just stopped working and you're the only one who hasn't noticed that. Yeah. Maybe something's run its course. I've always find it interesting, Tommy, that we use the language of, oh man, God is doing a new thing all the time. But in practice, we're always holding on to the old thing.
Yeah, totally, man.
So I guess it's just God that does a new thing, but we don't. So today we want to talk about that. How do you recognize when something needs to end? Here's the thing though, so that something better can begin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a lot of times that's what's going to happen. If you're holding on to things that are not really working anymore, they served their purpose a long time ago, and now maybe things have changed so that it's not working the way it was before, but you're just afraid to let go because you're not sure what's going to happen.
I mean, that's actually a really big reason why a lot of people don't pivot, right? Because you actually don't have something to look forward to or to replace or to move forward. So you're but if there's no vision there, then yeah, why would you get rid of this? And that's a good point.
Yeah. And I think if you've wrestled with questions like, oh man, should we shut this program down? It's, starting to cost a lot of money. People aren't showing up as much. And then usually what happens is when you get to that point of asking those questions, what we see more than anything is leaders double down on it.
Yeah, man. That's true.
I'm not putting enough energy. I'm not giving enough money to this.
We just do the same thing harder.
Just do the same thing. Yes.
Okay.
If you just try harder, it will work. But the problem is that what we're missing is the fact that the thing is not working because it's not working.
Right.
Not because you're not working.
Yeah.
Because it's not working anymore.
And I love this question you asked is the approach still worth our energy? And a lot of times I don't feel like we think about energy disbursement. We only think about more energy or less energy or, mostly it's always more energy. But if we just throw a bunch of energy at this, you got to just stop and just go, is it worth it? What's the ROI here? Is it doing what we thought it would do? So you can't have sacred cows like that. And that's why this is so important on what it looks like to let go.
You mentioned ROI. I think that seems to be just a taboo word for us. You can't be, as long as there's one that's showing up.
False.
Right. Yeah. Then, maybe just that one we need to, and I have seen entire programs, ministries held onto because, well, you know what? Those 3 people are still showing up and they need it. And I get that.
Yeah, they're important.
There is a need and they're important. And yeah, we should care for them. But what we never ask is this: is there a better way to care for those 3 people than to create keep an entire program going just for the sake of those 3 people?
Dude, yeah.
So I think we miss out on opportunities for a different way to do ministry that is actually healthier and better and more productive, and actually better for them as well.
Yeah.
Than let's just keep this entire program going.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Before we continue, if you like the show and want to continue to support us, the free and simple way to do that is to simply subscribe. And so we'll do our best to continue to create content to help you in your leadership.
I know that one of the things that that I've been part of in the past have been like food banks.
Oh, yeah.
And, food banks, I mean, obviously there's people that are going hungry. There's people that can't afford food. And so, especially in urban contexts, there's food deserts, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they're important. It's not that they're not important, but the question is it important for me to also have one?
Yeah, right.
On top of the 50 other ones in our, 30 block radius, do I need to have one as well? And I think sometimes that's the question we need to ask. And maybe, again, at one point, there was a need for that particular ministry.
Absolutely.
And God did amazing things through that. And now, God bless you for that. But maybe now it's time to move on, redirect your resources, redirect your energy, redirect your finances towards something that maybe is going to be more fruitful in this next season.
Yeah, man. Well, so what do we mean by pivoting or letting go?
Well, I think the idea is really intentionality, right? Because sometimes we're like, oh yeah, well, we had to pivot from that.
But you just let it die.
You ran out of money.
Yeah.
Like you ran out of money, and so we had to stop doing that. And you had to let all these people go, and you had to, there's all these, you just let it die a natural death. And what we're saying is, no, we're talking about.
You neglected it.
Yeah. We're talking about an intentional releasing of something. And that something could be sometimes just an idea. It could be a particular structure you build. It could be a plan. It might even be a dream. When I coach individuals and young people and couples sometimes, I have to have that conversation of, hey, maybe it's time to let go of that dream. Maybe it's just been the wrong dream for you. And there's something else that God is trying to do and you're kind of ignoring that. So we're talking about intentionally releasing something so that you make margin or space for something new to show up. And again, I think Tommy, you and I run into this all the time in our work with leaders is we see a program that for us at least, from the outside looking in,
no sense.
It's like going to your mom's house and grabbing that can of food that has an expiration date 3 years ago. Yeah. And you're like, why do you still have this?
Yeah, man.
Because somebody might want that someday.
Yeah. And you're like, well, you
what?
just put it back.
Yeah. So there are programs that are beyond their expiration date and we're still holding on to them for whatever reason. So we want to talk about that.
Absolutely. And I think one of the reasons why it's so hard to do. So we joke about it, friends, we get it, but we've also done it. I've done it a number of times, and I know sometimes it could feel like that's heartless or how could you do that? But it was really thought through, and so we understand why is it so hard to do. It's because let's just say it out loud, like letting go is hard. It comes along with senses of shame and failure and all these things that are mourning, grief, like it's just attached to it. And that's all, we get that. And so I know we joke a lot or we laugh at something or we always bring up these issues like, are you kidding me? But I mean, we get it. It's hard. So letting go is hard. And we get it. It's beyond like the practical difficulty of like, well, what are we going to use that space for? How we got to let go, or how are we going to, redistribute the funds?
How do you unwind it all? Yeah,
all that. But it's also difficult, emotionally and spiritually, relationally. Even it can't even physically. If it's a building or if it's a, whatever it is. We get it. So, a couple reasons why it's hard to let go. So. One, we attach our identity to what we've built. Again, I've talked about this a lot. Oh, that was your baby. That was like, and you put your soul and your heart into this thing. And so, we talked a little bit about that in the Sacred Hustle podcast. But for a lot of leaders, it's not just your program. It's like this thing you dedicated your life to and you birthed it, right? Yeah. And so we get it. I understand where that comes from. But when you attach your identity to it, that's a dangerous place to do, because when God moves or when that time has come or when it's not feasible anymore, when it doesn't make sense, a good leader will let it go. And we're not asking you to cut off a piece of your identity to let something go. Yeah. we're saying don't attach your identity to it in the first place.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't have emotions to it, that you didn't love it, that you don't grieve it, that you don't. But there's a big difference between grieving something that you started and put your time and effort into, and then killing off a part of yourself, like your identity. So what we're saying is don't attach yourself to it like that, if that makes sense. And so, I think we just know. We know it can feel very personal, and it is. We know you can feel like you're failing. And that's that identity trap that we're really talking about, where we confuse what we do with who we are. And we want to say, especially if you're a younger leader, like heads up now, don't do that.
Yeah.
And it'll help you engage in the work in a different way that is much more healthy. And when God moves or he asks you to do something else, you'll be so much more ready to do it.
Yeah. We've been... well, I won't say where I heard this, but I was talking to a young person recently who's an entrepreneur, and they're amazing at what they're doing. But in their first venture, it failed.
Yeah.
It failed miserably.
By the way, it's super normal if you look at
which
the
is really
stats.
normal for entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
But they were so devastated by it that they just went into a depression and tailspin, and all of a sudden felt like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. Like it took them a long time to recover from that, because they believed this. They wrapped up their whole identity in that business, in that particular project. And the thing about it is, it's a lie. It's a false narrative, right?
That's not who you are.
It's not who you are at all. And in fact, they've been able to relaunch something now that is super successful. And I was telling them the same thing. It's like, well, this isn't who you are either, though. Like, because it might be easy to go,
bruh.
oh, yeah.
When it fails, you're like, oh.
Yeah, when it fails, you start off by saying, oh, I'm a failure because I was wrapped up in this. And then when you do the next thing that succeeds, you go, oh, yeah, no, I wasn't that.
Yeah,
now
I'm this. Nope, no, you're not that either.
You're not this either. So we have to be careful to wrap up what we're doing with, as you said, who we are. Our identity is not in what we do.
Yeah, and by the way, friend, you could be proud of what you've done.
Absolutely.
You could make plaques and kind of memories
Celebrate
of that.
it.
You celebrate that, and you can also grieve it, and all that stuff's okay. What we're saying is, you do not want to attach your identity like, this is who I am, like, because I will tell you, as an older guy, things change.
Yeah.
And that is what's constant, is things will change. And so we want to prepare you for that so you could lead well through it. What's the next thing?
The second reason why we feel why it's hard to let go of things is that and it's kind of tied to the first one. It is really connected to the first one, but we are afraid of what other people are going to think, like how others perceive it. Because we think, oh man, they're gonna say, oh dude, you just gave up too early, or oh man, that person was unstable, or you know what, dude, they lost my credibility. Like all of these things, right? That people are gonna put something on you, and you're gonna be labeled as something, as a failure, or you didn't work hard enough, whatever the case may be. But the truth is that people might not understand your pivot in the moment. But we've experienced this, Tommy, that they'll respect your conviction as you move forward. So just because
some people,
the ones who matter, will respect your conviction and your clarity as you move forward. Because if we embrace this thing as, okay, you know what, we're actually doing the right thing for me, for my family, for my ministry, for my church, whatever the case may be. If you really believe that and you pivot well, yes, you're going to have those naysayers. You're going to have those people that'll be like, oh man, we really love that program. How many times have we heard that one, Tommy, right? Yeah. We really love that. Why did you guys stop that? And you're going to have a tendency to be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have, and start asking that. But if you just stay the course with that decision, if it's the right decision for the right reasons, then I think that you're not going to have to worry necessarily about how people will perceive it. Yeah. And let's be honest, sometimes we are more, even though we're clear, like, oh, I think God is saying to end this thing, we're more afraid of how we're going to disappoint people than us disappointing God.
Totally.
From doing that.
No, that's good. Next, I think I actually really like this one. We're emotionally tied to past wins. So why is it hard to pivot? Why is it hard to let go? We're emotionally tied to past wins. I think this is actually a really huge one that I don't think we talk a lot about, because we're so enamored by the wins and the successes that we're like, yeah, so let's not, dig into that, and let's not deal with how we got there. What should we do with it? And, why it was successful, all those kind of things. Let's just keep on doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it worked. And there's there's a sense of nostalgia wrapped up in the things we lead, right? Like that was the golden, that was the heyday. That I can't tell you how many churches I've heard of that. We used to be.
Oh God, yeah.
And so I get it. But I think, you remember all the youth that came to Christ. You remember, how the conference had sold out. You remember the breakthrough that happened. And so we just keep on trying to recreate that. But God is a creative God. Mm-hmm. He's innovative. He's always up to something new. I'm doing something new, right? This is scripture. And although I think that was referencing the gospel and, the full story, I think he's still that God, right? Now he has some principles that we always live by, tried and true. But he's always something. He's a creative God. He's the creator God. So I think there's parts of that where it's like we're missing out on that just by trying to recreate something that already did. I always reference a lot, why did Jesus never do the same miracle the same way? And I think I believe it's because he knew what we're like. We're going to be like, oh, okay, so you do A plus B equals C.
Okay, formula.
Cool. I'm going to take that formula and I'm going to heal the world. Well, the reason he switched that up is so that he could save us from ourselves. And I think that's why you want to be careful about this past win, because you're just kind of like, you're trying to recreate this thing that's already passed. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that we can't learn from past things, or we can't resurrect things, or we could try something in a new way. But it's trying to recreate this moment that's passed, right? So
we did see that in scripture too, by the way, right? That there were people who saw that and like, oh, hey, in the name of the Jesus that Paul preaches, right, and they try to recreate that scenario because they're like, well, this is how Paul does it.
Exactly,
he says it this way, and then what happened? That demon was like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, and then he beat him up.
And he beat him up, right? So I think you're right. Jesus was worried that they were going to fall in love with the method rather than the Messiah.
Yeah, and I think it's just important to say, just because something was fruitful doesn't mean it still is.
That part.
Like it was fruitful in that time. Everything has a season. If you want to take the fruit analogy, the fruit doesn't stay on the vine forever. You got to pick it, and it's got to be redone, or the crop has to be switched up.
Right, or the soil. Or you have to burn down the soil
exactly
and start over. Sometimes I think, man, the reason why that particular one hit me so hard is because I feel like when and this happens to me a lot with a lot of things. I feel like when I'm challenging a leader about something that is, they feel like I'm attacking what was.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Like, oh, let's appreciate that. Let's bless that. Let's honor that even, right? All of what God did, he's just not doing it anymore. So why don't we move on?
I love this. It's like you said, like, he's not obligated to bless what he used to bless.
Right.
In the same way that he used to bless it. Like,
exactly.
Like, and that's, I think there's an arrogance that happens. And when you see it with believers, like I've got the biggest, like I did this. And it's like, oh man, like once we figure out the formula, there's so much danger there. Instead of continuing to be like, well, God, should we still do this? Is this still good? Lord, what do you want us to do? So,
and that's why
I think that's good.
That's probably why we copy so much of other people's formulas and methods and models
instead of using the gift that you are in the context that you're in.
Exactly, because we're like, well, that's working for them, so let me do the same thing here. But it's the same process if you had something that was fruitful once and you keep trying to reproduce it with the same formula.
You kill that soil.
Methods.
Yeah, man,
for sure.
It's good.
Yeah, next one is, and this is, I get this, a little spooky. We're afraid of the unknown.
Right. I mean, it's not easy to go, I know these roads.
I know. Yeah.
I don't know this.
It's which is weird because the saying is actually better the devil you know.
Oh, I don't
You
know
ever
that
heard
say. No.
Oh, better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, which is weird that we're.
Yeah, I don't want to know
We'd
the
rather
devil.
know the devil. But the idea behind it is, look, I already know the challenges associated with this. I know how to overcome some of those. I'm good. Like, I know how to flow in this. And so if I get rid of the thing that I'm comfortable flowing in, I don't know if I'm going to be able to flow in the thing that I don't know about yet.
Yeah.
So I can't let it go. What if I do let go and there's nothing to replace it?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, what if?
Okay, well, here's the other part of this that I'm experiencing just recently too. What if God calls you into something that you're not good at yet? So
Interesting.
So if that happens, then it's like, well, you always want to go back to what you know you can win at. I'm like, that's my personality. Like, I want to win, and so I'll do things that I know I can win at. Where it gets tricky is I can do some things that a lot of other people can't, and so nobody knows if I'm actually living in faith, doing the thing that I don't think I can do, or am I just doing the thing I know I can win at, and then everybody's like, wow, Tommy, that was really amazing. Well, God loves me so much, he's like, hey, Tommy, I want you to do the next thing. And I'm like, but I suck at that. And he's like, yeah, I know.
I want to grow you.
I want to grow you. I want to, and so the real example for me is, right, I'm writing a book. I wrote a book, and it comes out next year.
Yeah.
But,
Plug it.
Yeah, but no, we'll talk about it. But it's coming out next year. I'm not a writer yet. Well, I am now, but I'm not good at it. And I'm so thankful for editors and people speaking into it, and but it's a skill set, and learning that new skill set is hard. But God knows that he's up to something, and I want to be a part of that. So if you only live in this other space, you're afraid of the unknown.
So good,
how are you ever going to grow into the person God created you to be? So,
I mean, and let's acknowledge that fear is real.
Oh man,
of doing something you've never done before, or going into the unknown. Like, oh, what if it doesn't work? What if? What if this is all I had, and now I just gave up all I had for what? For I don't even know what's next, right? Because letting go is hard because control feels safer than surrender.
Yeah, so good.
When you have to surrender to God, the control that you are comfortable with, that's scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is not a good reason for you to hold on to something beyond its expiration date.
Well, I think a part of this too is like the next one is we simply equate quitting with failing.
Yeah.
And we, mama didn't raise no quitter. Like, there's all this stuff where it's like, no, we got to grind through. And we talked about it in the Sacred Hustle. Like, there's this sense in us where we've got to overcome, especially if you have overcome a lot, which all of you that, have, there's a sense where like, no, that's the path. Can we just tell you it's okay. It's okay to stop doing something, to quit something, to go, that didn't work. That doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you're learning. Right.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say, like, that is so important for our leaders to understand, that you're banging your head against the wall. It's okay to just go, yeah, no, we're not going to do that anymore.
I mean, sometimes the most faithful thing you can do is walk away.
Dude, absolutely.
And I've experienced that. I experienced that in 2013, where
when you came here.
when I came into ministry full time, professionally, leaving the corporate world, that was that was a big deal for me. But I had to believe that the most faithful thing I could do at that time was to walk away from all of that and to move forward in something that I had no real experience with, and just trust that, hey, God is going to do something here.
That's good, man. So we want to let you guys know, letting go isn't quitting on the mission.
No.
Right? But it's refusing to cling to a method that no longer serves it. So it's not about the mission, it's about the method. And it's okay, friends, just to be like, hey, that didn't work. Here at UYWI, one of the things we do is, like, our culture here is to go, let's try it.
Yeah.
Like, we have a problem that we're trying to solve. We identify the problem and we try things. Maybe this is the solution, and we try it, and when it doesn't work out, we move quickly. You want to fail quickly. We move quickly, and we just go, what did we learn from that? Okay, so we don't try the same thing again, just harder. That's ridiculous. In fact, that makes me upset. I go, what are we? We didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
We stop, we learn from it, we try something out, right? We act, we learn, we adjust to that. And so that's what that looks like. So
the program is not the mission.
no, program is not the mission.
It's the method by which you're trying to achieve the mission.
Yeah.
And so that's going to change over time.
Hear me say it should change.
It should change.
It really
not
should.
The mission.
Not
program.
the mission. The method of like, how do we do this better?
Yeah.
But I feel like if we could just acknowledge it feels like so many of our leaders are just trying to survive all the time that they don't even have the stability enough to even be able to breathe and try these things. You know?
Which is what the term we just used when we were talking through our process right now was we need to scale back in order to scale up.
Yeah.
And that is hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Things we're going to have to let go of to do that.
Absolutely. So the bottom line here is like, we know letting go is hard. And really you're doing kind of two things at once. You're like grieve what was and trust what's next. Right. There's these two things and so again, we want to acknowledge, we know it's hard. We know it takes emotional energy. It's kind of a holistic engagement of this process, but it is essential if you're going to lead. So,
yeah, I mean, there's a story in Genesis 19 we all know about. It's Lot's wife looking back, turning into a pillar of salt, right? And as he's rescuing Lot's family from destruction of Sodom, God is really clear with them. It's like, hey, don't look back.
Yeah.
Now, we all know this story. We love to tell this story, right? But what happens? Lot's wife looks back longingly, unable to release the life. You know, if we can just kind of tell that story, right? Unable to release the life she once had. And in doing so, loses her future. So I think what we have to understand is that we can't walk into what's next if we're so deeply emotionally attached to what used to be.
Yeah, that's good.
And our ability to let go can end up costing us everything, or at least it's going to cost us health. It's going to cost us family, relationships,
staff.
I mean, there's a lot of things because we hold on too long. It doesn't mean you're faithful. It just means you're stuck. Yeah. And we need to be able to move on from that.
So why is the ability to let go an important leadership quality?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. We are living in a time where, man, the world, I'm always marveling, Tommy, at how fast the world is changing.
Yeah.
Our culture is changing. Our expectations of each other, of ourselves are changing. The way we communicate is changing. I mean, look at the introduction of AI and it feels like it was just this year that it started and it's already like taken over the world, right?
Yeah.
Even the way that we gather people, the way that we lead is changing, but so many of us are still using all these outdated playbooks. And, you know, we're running 2015 strategies in a 2025 world. And so here's what happens when you hold on too long. Go ahead.
Yeah, dude, so I've been read this book. I don't know if any of you guys have read it. It's called The Story of Mankind. It's a history book about the incomplete story of mankind. It's by Hendrik Wilhelm van Loon. And in there, he talks about how modern, a lot of times in history, they're applying solutions that are hundreds of years old to current situations. Like they're still stuck in feudal, Europe or Japan, but they're trying to deal with, 19th century issues. Like he proves it where he's like, we're always like so far behind. And we've always said that with the church too, right? It always feels like we're really far behind. Yeah. And now the world, to your point, is like moving so fast that it feels like in some ways we get left behind if we're not able to do this process here. Yeah.
I mean, trying to keep up with the algorithm is exhausting, right? So what happens when you hold on too long though is a few things. One, it drains your resources. There's almost always a higher cost to keeping a program going past its time than to letting it go. And I think when you keep investing in what isn't working, you kind of rob what could be working. Yep. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it limits innovation. And we talked about this in several episodes already. Yeah. Is that, man, if we really believe, Tommy, if we really believe that God is trying to do something new, why aren't we listening to him? Why are our hands are too full maintaining the old to notice this new thing that God is trying to place in our hands.
Yeah.
And so I really feel like innovation is so limited right now in the church, when the church used to be it was a birthplace of innovation. And now it just feels like, what are we talking about? Using ChatGPT to write sermons? Like, that's the big debate right now. I mean, come on, really? Again, anyway, I can go on and on about this, but it limits innovation. And then also holding on to something. Here's the thing. There could be a part of your organization or your church that is trying to move forward, and you're holding on to something, or maybe even the pastor or the leader's holding on to something that isn't working. That's going to slow momentum down for the whole thing. It's like trying to drive with a flat tire. And you're just like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about that noise. Like, I've ridden 50 miles on this before, you know.
So you're like, you should just take care of that.
Yeah.
Get a new tire.
But we don't. We're like, okay, you know what? I'll patch it up at the next. We don't, you know.
Fix it flat.
I don't think we know any leader who says they don't want to keep moving forward and grow.
Oh yeah.
But there's nothing more frustrating than when we talk to these leaders and go, okay, yeah, this is great, man. This is great what you want to do. This is exciting. You're going to have to let go of some of these other things to get there. And they're like, no, I think we can do them both. And so they're dragging all this dead weight with them. And sometimes that dead weight you're dragging, it's your own idea about how something is supposed to work, or why it's still valid, or why we should still continue to keep doing that.
Yeah. No,
so I think we need to really trust God to follow him in what's next. So and Tommy, I know you, like I said, you shared earlier, you have a lot of experience in this. And I know we have here at UIWI. How are some practical ways that we can actually pivot and do it in a good way?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a couple things that we want to share on that. One, we're talking about like measure the harvest. And so we have to ask the tough questions. So, and this is in the harvest, like this is in the successes. Like, okay, this is what this used to do. Does it still do that? And by the way, friends, you should do that while it's still good. Like, don't wait till something's like, don't wait till the tire's flat. You can always go like, hey, let's check the tires now. Do we want different type of tires? Hey, what kind of terrain are we going to go to? Should we get, like off-road wheels, or should we get like what? You do that while the things are still good. Now, if you're coming in, sometimes you take over things and you come in, you're like, this car has no tires. Like okay, then you start there. But you have to ask tough questions even when things are really good. Is this doing what we thought it could do? Is this still aligned to the mission and the vision? Is this the best way to do this? What's the outcome we want, right? These type of things. Like, is it still producing fruit? Is there enough fruit to keep the harvest going? And this idea of return on investment. I'm a deep ROI guy. Yeah. Like, I don't do anything outside of ROI. However, it's also really important to define the ROI. Yeah. Because that's a value conversation. So sometimes it's like, hey, I wanted to reach 500 leaders. This method is only reaching 200 leaders. But what can we learn from that? Are those 200 leaders experiencing 80% growth to when the 500 leaders only experience 20% growth? Like, there's all this stuff you can learn and ask, right, on return on investment, and what kind of a return do we want on it? Because sometimes it's okay if it's a certain type of return on it. There could be different types, right? So that kind of idea.
It's like a weighted return, right?
Totally. Or that return for right now is going to actually return a lot more later. So I'd rather have a little bit here and get a lot more later than have a whole bunch here and then see that diminish. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just good stewardship. The ROI conversation is just good stewardship. Is there a spiritual ROI? Is there a relational ROI? Is there an organizational ROI? And of course, financially is what we always think about. But when we're talking about return on investment, we're talking about how much harvest is coming out of the amount of energy that we're putting into it. Yeah. And if it's honestly, again, if you and your team are getting depleted and there's not a lot of fruit, it's time to plant a new tree, man.
Yeah. And I know, I mean, we joke around this a lot. We did this with National Conference, made the decision to cut that. It was like our staple. It's how UYWI started in a lot of respects. So, and people were, upset about that. And really what I did was I looked at where we wanted to go, brought all the team in on it and said, look, this is, it's like 25% of the budget. It's 8 months of our entire staff time. And we weren't able to develop the other programs to do the leadership development the way we thought it should be done to have the results that we wanted.
Yeah.
And so we had to say, okay, I think this stuff's suffering. I don't see how we can continue to do this with the ROI that it's having and do this over here. We had to make the hard choice. Now, the Lord is good, friends. When we made the choice, I put out, people are probably like, dude, this guy is ruining UIWI. And then a few months later, when the pandemic hit, everybody's like, you're a genius. How did you, because we didn't spend any money on it, didn't spend time on it. It would have been like $300,000. Like I would have tanked us, I think.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if we would have existed if the Lord hadn't intervened and that we didn't make that decision as a team to go, we can't do this. Like it was that big a deal.
And it was still beloved. It was still effective.
No. People
loved it. Like it wasn't like we were getting bad press about it or people's negative experience or leaders were saying, why are you guys still? No, everybody loved it. And so there's a case where it's not even that it wasn't necessarily working. It just wasn't the right thing for the future of UYWI. And sometimes those are the hardest decisions. But again, good leadership is looking at the ROI for all of that.
Yep. And so it was rough. So
we still get people pumped.
Oh, bro. And they're still talking to me about it. I'm like, yeah, I know. I hear you. And I loved it too. So first, measure the harvest. Second, listen for confirmation.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is so important. We always say, oh, I really would love some peace about the decision. But there is truth to that for sure. Like we have to know that God is often going to speak through people, through patterns, even through pain points. And if we're not listening for confirmation that, hey, it's time to get rid of this, then we may miss out on all of that, right? Our team members, like we have to listen to our team. And sometimes our team has been telling us forever, like, dude, we need to stop that. And we're just so stuck on it. Like, no, it's almost like they're attacking us personally when they're telling us to end something. And it's not. I mean, what are your metrics showing? What are the metrics saying?
And this is important too, because there will be a unity around it. I didn't make the conference decision in a vacuum.
Right.
We did it together. Now, if I had come to the team with that and they're like, no, Tommy, here's why or why. Oh, okay, cool. That wasn't the case. Everybody was like, yeah, that makes sense. And if we're going to move in this, like, so it's an important thing. What are other people saying? What are team members saying? What are the metrics showing? All the, why is all, answering all those questions and then having data to make a clear decision. Yeah. So this isn't an emotional decision either. Like, especially if you're coming into something that's already existing, by the way, go through the process. Don't just cut everything, like think through it and then make some clear decisions.
It also changes your prayers. If you're listening for confirmation, it changes the way you pray about things. So if something's not working, I think our typical approach would be like, God, make it work. Yeah. God, can you just start bringing people? Can you help? I think the better prayer is, Lord, what are you trying to tell me through this? Is it time? Is it time for us to let go of this? Am I doing something here that is just no longer part of your plan for me? Yeah. But instead we try to make those prayers like just even through our prayers like, God, you got to make it work, like kickstart it again, like this jumper cables. We want prayer to be our jumper cables to our program and get it started again instead of saying
just asking if he wants it to continue.
Do you want me to change the battery? Is that what you're trying to tell me? It's time to change the battery?
Bro. The last one on this one is check your motives, which is kind of what we're talking about, right? You're just asking those questions. Am I holding out out of pride? Am I afraid of being seen as a failure? Am I unwilling to admit that the season has changed? And this takes a lot of humility, that this worked once, but it's not working now. Yeah. And that's a courageous leader to bring it to other. But here, I'll give you a secret. You want the inside track?
Tell me.
If you're a leader and you bring this up to your team, those who are really close to it, they already, a lot of them already know.
Oh yeah.
And so you'll make a safe enough space for them to feed back to you, and then you'll have confirmation pretty quick. You're like, oh, I didn't know that's how everybody felt about it. especially those people who are probably running that program. That's a double-edged sword, because sometimes they're going to be like, yeah, I don't. Otherwise, they have their own kind of thing that they want to hold on to it, even though it's not working. So if you're thinking through all that and you're doing that, once you've made the decision in your mind, it's time to move ahead. So quickly, like, how do we do
let's
that?
just go through just 4 quick things that you need to do in order to pivot well. The first thing is you have to have a transition plan. Again, don't just make the decision, oh yeah, let's get rid of that, and then
don't lead from the stage, please.
Don't lead from yes. Don't just make the decision and then decide, okay, well, we'll just figure out what to do now.
No.
Like, have a plan, right? Don't just cut what was, but plan to what's next. Have a clear path for how you're going to move forward, because that's going to help your people embrace the change and help you move forward. So that's number 1. The second thing is communicate the change clearly. Again, we talked about in a previous episode, one of the questions was, hey, how do I tell my staff that I'm transitioning? Well, it's the same thing here, right? We have to make sure that we communicate what's changing, what's going away, what's replacing it, what is not replacing it, right? Your job as a leader is to narrate the pivot.
Yeah.
How do you do that well? Communicate with clarity and kindness, explain the why, make sure you honor the history of that thing, point people to the future of it.
Super important. Yeah. I see people make that mistake. You have to honor it.
Yeah.
And be grateful for it. What's next?
Number 3 is move ahead with purpose. So again, you've made the plan, you've communicated it. Now, don't start reminiscing about what was again. Because sometimes it's easier to go back, right? Letting go isn't about ending something. It's about stepping into what's next with intention. So move ahead with purpose. Again, don't sit there in the grief of that thing, and otherwise it's going to help you. It's not going to help you move go. So letting go without a vision will lead to confusion, not momentum. And then the last thing is, again, this feels like almost cliche to say, but hey, trust God for what's next. Right, this might be the hardest part, I think, for some of us, is that you don't need the full picture of what's next in order to make the decision to pivot.
Yeah.
Because in faith, we have to believe that even though we don't see what's next, like, God's already there.
Yeah.
If he's asking you, hey, join me here.
Yeah, he's there.
He's already there.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
So you have to have the faith to move forward in that.
Love it. So here's the bottom line, friends. Letting go doesn't mean you failed.
Nope.
So we hope you take that. It actually might mean you're finally free to do the innovation, to align, to trust God's direction, and then more than your own preference or the memories of what used to be. And so you were never called to keep something alive just to make it just because it used to work, right? So take courage, friends. Take inventory and take a step. And that future is not going to be built by those who refuse to let go. And that's the type of leaders we need, man. So it's built by those who know when to move on and trust God with what's next.
Amen.
So we hope that's been helpful for you. Make sure you share this with your leaders. Maybe this is you. We'd love to hear feedback. Like, how has this been helpful to you? Make sure you subscribe, like, share. And we'll see you guys next time on the Futures Here podcast.
See you.
Peace.